Hello viewers, well welcome to a bit more E3 coverage. There's still some bits and pieces still to be done on the channel, and you'll see that coming up over the course of the next week. Of course we had the Thrustmaster were there in force with a number of new sort of wheels and bits and pieces, but the main one being this GT wheel, which we saw over a year ago now, first shown at the Gran Turismo Sport sort of reveal event, and being shown here again as well. Now we tried to see it on the first day of the show, but obviously we weren't allowed on the actual public Sony area, but I managed to somehow get into the Sony private area and get a look at the wheels. So here we are then, we're taking a look at it here. I've been in touch with Thrustmaster about the various wheels that are at the show, and there's very few details coming through. They don't even know, we can't even get confirmed names on some of the products, and we have no confirmed pricing, so that's all up in the air at the moment. I know there was this feeling from some people that it was a direct drive wheel due to a sort of mistranslation, but it's not. But there is some kind of transducer or something on the back. There's something to give it a bit more rumble, I guess, and feel, but we'll learn more about that in due course. Of course, you could try it out at the show. I, of course, here was a little too tall, unfortunately, for the pods. So I had to sort of do the splits, get on there, and then I did a bit to camera, and unfortunately the mic wasn't working during this, so I was doing a little bit describing what I was feeling as I was looking at it. But overall, it looks very nice. It's kind of got that Pagani look to it, Pagani Huayra look to it, and sort of the feel there. And of course I'm just seeing what the knobs feel like and stuff. I'm not keen on knobs for controlling menus. I prefer to just use a digital pad or some kind of touch system that would work well on console games. But either way, they've put in enough functionality here for all the different sort of racing games that you may come up against. The wheel itself is also slightly smaller than I was expecting it to be in its overall circumference. I mean, we saw it last year, but it's just as a feel in your hand compared to some of what Thrustmaster had at the show. The rally rim in particular was larger, but I wasn't able to do much with it. I was just having a play around with it here just to get as much sort of feeling of the texture, the weight of it, how does the feedback feel that's sort of there without having a proper drive. But unfortunately, it wasn't going to happen. I wasn't going to be able to get my legs under there. If you're over 6 foot tall, you cannot fit on Sony's Gran Turismo rigs. And this has been a problem for me with GT Academy. It's one of the reasons why I could never get into a GT Academy rig, and I mentioned it even with the old hoop ones in terms of squeezing in there if you're over 6 foot tall. But there you go. I just wanted to get you guys some footage of this, and then after this our cameraman Tim jumps on to do the driving on this and on the VR, just to get a feel for the wheel as well, and why not. So a bit of detailed close-up footage. And then obviously it was time for a bit of a drive to see the latest build of Gran Turismo Sport, and also try it with the official wheel. And of course the wheel feels nice. It's a nice feeling wheel. I mean, if any of you've used any of Thrustmaster's new wheels, especially the TS PC Racer there, that's a really nice piece of kit, and it's got strong, sustained, smooth force feedback in terms of the way it works. But yeah, this is an extension of that. It's nice new modern technology in there. The Gran Turismo itself, coming from, say, we've been playing WRC earlier, it felt a bit, it still feels a bit sterile. I think they need a bit more sort of, I don't know if there's options for it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it needs a bit more intensity in the car. You can see it's very smooth, and there's no movement or anything. There's no G-forces affecting your view, which there would be in the real car. Your head's bumping around and you're leaning into the corners, and it's a real rugged feeling of G-force, and you don't necessarily get that when you're playing here. So I think from Tim, who was playing, says, obviously from his point of view, yeah, there's good feedback, but the experience itself is still a little bit sedate compared to, say, Project Cars 2, which is a bit more intense in terms of the way it looks and feels. So overall, nice wheel. After that, he tried it on the VR as well, and found the VR to be much more engaging, much more visceral. Your head is moving around now, you're in that cockpit, you're feeling the car bumping around, and it's much more engaging than perhaps the standard screen experience. Of course, the VR experience will be limited on Gran Turismo Sport, we know that, but we don't know the full scope of that either, not until we get an idea on the full game, on the tracks and cars and everything. We're not far from release now, October the 18th, and you know, we still don't know all the information that's going to be in Gran Turismo Sport, so we keep a close eye on that. It's a bit quiet on the channel at the moment. We're just having some transitional work going on in the background, some changes coming to VVV later in the year, so during the quieter patch now we're using that time between now and Gamescom to get all of that sorted, and then from Gamescom it's going to be the big racing releases right up till Christmas, and goodness, it's going to be busy here, but hopefully we're going to have some new people joining the team and involved in what we're doing as well. But that's it from me for now. I'm just going to leave you with a bit of random gameplay and some music. There's no sound, we couldn't record any audio at the event, it was just a dim of noise in the room, but that's it from me for now, and there'll be more from me very soon.